Hi friends, a very warm welcome. I'm back with my next AngularJS tutorial. It's the tutorial number 7. In the last AngularJS tutorial, we learned to build AngularJS modules in which we had our JavaScript code which we included later on in our main file. And we also threw some light on implementing form validation in AngularJS. Let's see what we have in stock for this time. We will learn how to embed HTML views inside AngularJS application, how to implement AJAX with AngularJS. First of all, let's look at AngularJS view embedding. HTML does not support embedding HTML pages within HTML page. Using AngularJS, we can embed HTML pages within HTML page using ng-include directives. So ng-include directive is the key to include HTML page within another HTML page in AngularJS. Let's see how we do it. So friends, here you can see this is the code I'm going to use. I have included the AngularJS framework file here, that's the JS file, which I'm going to need to help my application work. It will provide the basic functionality that is needed for AngularJS application to run. Now, here's the body for my application. I have declared my application with the help of ng-app directive, and the name of the application would be main app. I have also declared the controller with the help of ng-controller directive. The name of the controller is student controller. If you look at the JS code for it, here's the code that registers my application main app. And I've also defined the controller, student controller, which holds the model for my application. I've defined the model with the help of $scope service. It has a student object which has properties first name, last name, fee, and then an array subjects which holds some objects having properties name. Name is the name of the subject, and marks, the marks scored by the student in this subject. And I also have a function full name which returns a full name after concatenating the first name and last name. These properties are bound to my HTML controls. Here you can see I have the input control which is bound to the first name property of the student object. Then I have another input control which is bound to the last name property of student object, and then I also display the full name of the student. Then the second piece of code is used to display the subject name and marks in a tabular format. Now let's have a look at the page in the browser. So here you can see how my page looks. I have the first table for entering the first name and last name, also displaying the full name of the student, and then the second part is a table that displays the name of the subjects and the marks scored by the student in them. Now here are the two pieces of codes that represent my views. The first one is for entering the first name and last name and also displaying the full name, and the second is for displaying the marks and name of the subject. Now suppose I need to move these pieces of codes in separate files and include them back into this main file. I'm going to do that with the help of ng-include directive. Let's see how I do it. For that, I need to create two new files to include this code in them. So this is the first file that I've created, AngularJS HTML1, and in this file I'm going to include the first part, the first view, that is this code. I cut this code, I simply paste it here and I save it. Now this is the second file, AngularJS HTML2.html. I'm going to include the second part of code inside this file. That is this code. I'm going to cut it, paste it, and I save this file. Now the code for the view that was earlier in this file has been moved to two separate files, AngularJS HTML1 and AngularJS HTML2. Now to render those views inside this main HTML, I will have to include those two files in this file. So to do so, I will need to use ng-include directive. So here you can see I have used Angular include directive to include the two files for views, AngularJS HTML1 and AngularJS HTML2. I will have to mention the full paths of the locations where the files are located. The source attribute will be used to mention the paths to the files. Now you can see my page looks the same. Thus, ng-include directive has enabled me to include the code for my views inside different files, thus allowing me to manage my code better. Now let's look how we can implement AJAX in AngularJS. AngularJS provides $HTTPS service to read data from the server. The server makes a call to get the desired records. AngularJS needs data in JSON format. Once the data is ready, $HTTPS can be used to get the data from server. Let's see how we do it through code. So friends, this is the code that I'm going to use to explain AJAX in AngularJS. I have registered my AngularJS application module ng app here. Then I have defined the controller, country controller here. Then here you can notice that I have included $HTTP service here. I'm going to use $HTTP service to get data from an external file. So it enables me to fetch data from another file using AJAX in AngularJS. I also have $scope service, which is used to define my model. I have a variable countries, which will get populated with the data that I fetch from external file. Here I have used get method of HTTP service, within which I have passed a URL for the external text file which holds the data I need in this application, and the then method that will have a function which has a parameter response that will be populated with the data fetched from the external file. And here's the code that populates countries variable with the data. And here you can see my view code. I have declared the ng app directive. Then I have the controller here. So here you can see I have a table which will display the values I fetch from the external file. Now let's have a look at the external file and what sort of data it has. Here's the file. It's the country.txt file. This file has an array which holds some objects having properties country and capital. So I'll fetch this data in my application and then display the data in a tabular format. So Let's see how it looks in the browser. So friends, you can very well see that the data that we fetched from the external file has been displayed in a table format in my application here, displaying the country name and capital name, countries India, US, UK, Australia, and their capitals Delhi, Washington DC, London, Canberra. So it's this easy to implement AJAX in AngularJS. Friends, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Please subscribe, like and comment. To subscribe to my channel, kindly click the red subscribe button below the video. I will be back with my next AngularJS tutorial soon. Until then, enjoy and practice more. Thank you.